Fatherhood, an all too complicated task to say the least. I, myself, a father, knows the grief of losing a father all too soon. Fathers are an integral part of a child's life, especially when that father is dedicated to raising good kids with great work ethics. And to be part of your children's profession is a blessing in itself. One father in particular has watched his son grow to become a worldwide basketball phenomenon. But before I continue, let's go back to August 1st, 1936 in Wallace, North Carolina. A child was born to loving parents, William and Rosa Bell Jordan. The child's name was James Jordan. Born in a time when the Hindenburg took flight, Roosevelt was reelected, and Jesse Owens was a black national icon. Furthermore, James was born in a time when the world was at war, so I can imagine how his parents felt in a time of uncertainty. Not much is known about James's upbringing, but what we do know is that he joined the Air Force in his early adult years. He married his high school sweetheart, Dolores Peoples, and with her, they had 5 children. James and his family moved a few times in his life, and one of the places he moved to was Brooklyn, New York. While living in Brooklyn, they had 3 children, a son which they named Michael. During that time, living in Brooklyn was a high risk due to the crime in the area. James decided to move back to North Carolina in the city of Wilmington. They settled there and began to raise their family in a lower crime area. The family was tight-knit and supported each other as families should do. However, Michael was an avid athlete and wanted to follow in his father's footsteps. James himself played semi-pro baseball and also was a huge fan of basketball. Knowing that he had athletic children, he allowed them to pursue sports in school. Michael was a late bloomer. He didn't make his basketball team as a freshman. However, he did become really good and eventually landed at the University of North Carolina. There, he became the star of his basketball team. Seeing how good Michael was at the sport, James accompanied him through Michael's basketball career. James probably never could have imagined that Michael would be as great as he became. As a Chicago Bull, Michael became the face of the NBA, and James was there to witness all of it. Being a father myself, the joy of seeing your children succeed at the things they love is indescribable. So, I can imagine how James must have felt to be the father of such an athlete. Being there to witness Michael's first championship win in 1991, then in 1992, and then again June 20th, 1993. The three-peat was complete, and a parade in Chicago was set to go 2 days later at Grant Park with 200,000 spectators. James must have been so proud of the accomplishment Michael made and the joy that his son must have felt. 1 month later, on July 23, 1993, James played golf in Lumberton, North Carolina. On his way home, he grew tired and stopped at a hotel parking lot to take a quick nap. Before he got back on the road, 2 men approached James's car in an attempt to steal it from him. James was fatally shot, and his body would not be found until August 1993 in South Carolina. I cannot imagine the devastation that James's family felt during that time, losing a father. Michael's mother loses a husband, as well as the pillar of the family, all at once. The perpetrators were eventually caught, and both got life in prison. James's ashes were laid to rest on August 15, 1993. During this period, Michael must have gone into a depressive state of mind, and I imagine for him to stay mentally strong, he had to change some things in his life. He retired from basketball in October 1993. The one thing he and his father shared throughout Michael's career, Michael stated that he had lost the desire to play the game. During his hiatus from basketball, he decided to play baseball for the White Sox minor league baseball team in February 1994. This most likely took his mind off the passing of his father and renewed Michael in some way. I know the feeling of losing a father, but I cannot imagine how Michael felt due to the circumstances of his father's passing. From October 1993 to March 1995, Michael refreshed himself mentally, and baseball seemed to fill his competitive itch. But basketball was his joy, a game that he shared with his late father. So, on March 19, 1995, Michael announced that he would be returning to basketball. Even though the Bulls made the playoffs in '94 without him, they eventually lost in 7 games to the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Upon Michael's return, the Bulls again made the playoffs but would lose to Orlando in 6 games in the Eastern Conference Championship games. Michael played in only 17 games that season, but the 1996 season was a different story. He averaged 30.4 points a game, 6.6 rebounds, and 4.3 assists in 82 games, and made his 10th All-Star game and won his 4th NBA championship. The 1996 championship was much more meaningful to Michael because it was the first one he had won without his father by his side. At the end of the game, Michael left the court by himself, made his way to the locker room with the ball in hand, and he laid on the floor and began sobbing. They won the 1995-1996 NBA championship on Father's Day. That moment had to have been bittersweet. The one person who saw him through all his basketball career was not there to celebrate it with him. Michael and the Bulls went on to win the next 2 NBA championships, winning 3 in a row, 6 total championships in the Michael Jordan era. Fathers who have their children's best interests in mind are important. That child is given a better opportunity to succeed in life with an active father being there as well as a supportive mother. To see the impact James had on Michael's life says a lot about the man he was. More fathers should dedicate themselves and be more active in their children's lives. May James rest in peace.